Chapter 1. The Intake. The boy would not speak in front of his mother, so Sirikarn asked the mother to wait outside. This was standard procedure. She explained it the same way she always did, warmly, briefly, with enough clinical authority that the parent understood it was not a suggestion. The mother, a small woman in a pressed blouse who had been finishing her son's sentences since they walked in, accepted this with visible reluctance and closed the door behind her. The room was quiet. Sirikarn set her assessment folder on the low table between them and looked at the boy. He was 7. His name was Nat. He had been referred by his school after 2 terms of near-total silence in group settings. He spoke at home. His mother had clarified in the intake form, in great detail, about the specific interior architecture of ant colonies. He had read 4 books about ants. He had opinions about ants that he expressed at length to his father every evening. At school, he had not produced a single volunteered sentence in 6 months. His file said selective mutism. His face said something more specific than that. He was a child who had decided, at some precise and probably unremembered moment, that certain rooms were not safe for his voice. Sirikarn understood this perfectly. She had been a child like that once. She no longer thought about it. She did not reach for the assessment materials immediately. She set them to the side and folded her hands on the table. She had learned over 11 years that the first 10 minutes with a selective mute child were not for testing. They were for proving that silence was acceptable, that the room would not fill with expectation and harden around the child like a mold. She looked at the window instead of at Nat. Outside, Salam was doing what it always did at 9 in the morning, traffic building toward its daily impasse, the smell of the noodle cart on the ground floor rising through the ventilation, someone's phone playing a soap opera at the front desk. She had been in this office for 6 years. She no longer heard these things consciously. They were the ambient condition of the work, the way a surgeon stops registering the smell of antiseptic. After 4 minutes, Nat picked up one of the small objects she kept on the table for exactly this purpose, a smooth river stone from a trip to Chiang Rai she had taken with Arthit 3 years ago, and turned it over in his hands. She said without looking at him, "Heavy?" He considered this, then just audibly, "It's from a river." Yes, he put it down, picked up the next object, a small brass elephant, a clinic fixture, purchased at Chatuchak and slightly tarnished at the ears, examined it. "Your elephant is dirty," he said. "I know, I should clean it. My grandmother has one. Hers is clean. She takes better care of it than I do." This produced something that was not quite a smile, but occupied the same space. He set the elephant down with a small, deliberate click, lining it up parallel to the edge of the table. She noted the alignment. She noted the precision. She reached for the assessment folder, not to open it, just to move it to the table's surface where he could see it, so it was not a surprise when she eventually used it. Transparency about materials was important with anxious children. The folder being visible and unremarkable was better than the folder appearing suddenly. "Nat," she said, "I'm going to ask you to do some things with me today. Some of them will feel like games. Some will feel strange. All of them are fine to do slowly." He was looking at the folder. "What's in it?" "Pictures, some listening exercises, a few things I'll ask you to repeat." "Is it a test?" "No. I'm just trying to understand how your voice works." He absorbed this with the seriousness it deserved. "My voice works fine," he said. "I just don't use it at school." "I know. Can you tell me why?" The silence that followed was different from the earlier silence. The earlier silence had been precautionary. This one was considered. He was deciding something. "It's too loud there," he said finally. "The school is loud?" "No." He picked up the Riverstone again. "The air is too loud. There are too many things in it already. My voice doesn't fit." Sirikarn wrote this down verbatim. It was the most precise description of environment-induced mutism she had heard from a child. She wrote it without comment, which was the correct response. Commenting on it would have made him self-conscious about the accuracy of his own perception. She had seen parents do this, respond to a child's perfect description of their internal experience with "that's so interesting" in the tone that meant "I didn't expect that from you," and watched the child's face close like a door. "Okay," she said, "let's try the listening exercise." The exercise was simple. She would play a series of recorded sounds, and he would describe what he heard. Not identify. Describe. There was a difference, and she explained it. A car horn was not the answer. The answer was sharp, short, angry. The answer was the texture of the thing, not its label. Children with his profile often responded well to this frame. It removed the performance of knowing the right answer and replaced it with observation. He was good at it. She noted this. He described a rain recording as trying to say something but all at once so you can't hear it. He described a crowd sound as everyone finishing each other's sentences wrong. He described a single piano note held until it faded as a word someone decided not to say. Sirikarn's pen stopped moving. She looked at what she had written. A word someone decided not to say. She wrote it down. They moved through the remaining exercises. He was cooperative, occasionally precise, and twice funny in the dry, involuntary way of children who spend a great deal of time around adults. She was noting his consonant production, clean, no articulation issues, nothing structural, when she became aware that he had stopped responding. She looked up. He was looking past her left shoulder. Children looked at things on the wall. They looked at windows. They looked at the door when they heard their mothers shift in the chair outside. This was different. He was looking at a fixed point in the middle distance, the way people look when they are listening to something. She did not turn around. She noted the time on the session clock, 41 minutes in. Nat! He did not look at her. She said his name again, more quietly this time. A clinical response to dissociation, not alarmed, not demanding, simply marking presence. He spoke. The sound came out of him cleanly, without effort, with the ease of a child speaking a language he had known his entire life. The words were not Thai. They were not English. They were not any of the Central Asian languages she had occasionally encountered in Bangkok's international school referrals. The tones were there. It was a tonal language. But the phonemic profile was wrong for Mandarin, wrong for Cantonese, wrong for anything she could place in 11 years of clinical work with multilingual children. The sentence lasted approximately 4 seconds. Then he looked at her. His expression was completely ordinary. "Sorry," he said in Thai. "What were we doing?" She kept her face still. "The listening exercise. We just finished." "Oh." He set down the Riverstone. "Okay." She made a notation in the file. T+41M patient produced extended vocalization in unidentified dialect. Patient showed no awareness of episode, no preceding dissociative signs. Investigated follow-up. Her handwriting was level. She finished the session, conducted the final minute of closing routine, and walked Nat and his mother to the reception desk. The mother asked 3 questions. Sirikarn answered them. She scheduled the follow-up. She watched them go. She went back into the assessment room and stood at the window. Below, the steady knock of the noodle cart vendor making his mid-morning circuit, small wooden block against a worn hollow body, 2 short strikes and 1 long. The sound carried down the soy the way it always had, the way it had carried through every street in this city for longer than anyone still living could remember. Everyone who heard it knew what it meant. The sound was its own language. The traffic had settled into its daily arrangement. At the corner of the adjacent building, a spirit house received its morning garland. A young man from the ground floor office, still in his employee lanyard, placing a jasmine loop with the brisk efficiency of someone who does a thing every day and has stopped performing devotion without having stopped meaning it. She thought, unidentified dialect, no preceding dissociative signs. So, she adjusted the bracelet on her wrist, the thin gold piac, the filigree worn smooth at the clasp from years of this same unconscious adjustment, and picked up her phone to check the afternoon schedule. Her grandmother's death anniversary was in 11 days. She had not thought about this until now. She did not think about it further. She put the phone down and gathered the session materials and went to write up the morning's notes before the next appointment arrived. The assessment room was empty behind her. The Riverstone sat on the low table, parallel to the edge, exactly where Nat had placed it. The brass elephant sat beside it. The room was quiet in the way that rooms are quiet when no one is in them.